The holiday collection from Leigh Eldridge could not possibly be more GLAMSMITTY coated. She was on a mission to give us sparkle, and I am so incredibly happy about this. I have 2 kits here, one including 3 sparkly lip glosses, the other including 3 liquid shadows. We are going to do a deep dive on this collection and do try-ons and comparison swatches. Now, I am no stranger when it comes to the liquid shadows from Leigh Eldridge. They are my top liquid shadow formula. And I've tried a bunch because I really do love a good liquid shadow. They're very high impact and they are the easiest formula I know to apply. I am, however, completely brand new to her gloss formula. The artwork for this collection really is standout. This is the box that has the glosses. The inspiration is a group of girls that are going out. It's playful and fun, and quite honestly, these are keepsakes. So they will definitely be living on my vanity. And the artwork for both little boxes is different. So this is what the outer packaging for the Liquid Shadow trio looks like. It's honestly just a nice touch, and as someone who isn't obsessed with packaging, I genuinely felt excited about this artwork. Okay, we are going to dive right into swatching and trying on the glosses, starting off with the shade Chameleon Chaos. I would describe this as being a magenta pink with a green shift. Now, when you try these on, these will be a light to medium opacity. You can build them up a little bit, and of course, if you want them to stand out even more, you can pair them with a lip liner or over top of a dark lipstick or lip stain, or just use them as a topper in general. The packaging on these feels chic, it feels luxe, and each tube has 4.5 milliliters of gloss. In terms of the formula itself, it feels smooth on the lips. The glitter doesn't feel gritty in any way, which honestly should be the expectation, especially from a luxury brand. These retail for $28, which is on par with Pat McGrath at $29 and NARS at $28. Okay, the next shade we have is called Kensington Plum. This shade gives me the vibes of Cherry Cola lips, and actually I immediately thought of Fenty's Hot Chocolate Fantasy. To me, this shade is more of a brown toned gloss that has a hint of magenta. I do think it's slightly more pigmented than the first shade I tried on, but we are still in the realm of a light to medium opacity that can be built up a little bit. I know that these are definitely like party vibes for Leigh Eldridge, but this to me is like an everyday gloss. But of course that perspective is coming from a sparkle lover through and through. I really like the depth of this shade. I would say that all of the shades in this collection are slightly warm toned. Because they're reasonably sheer, I don't think it matters a ton, but I would have loved to see a cool tone gloss in this collection as well. And just for the sake of doing a little swatch comparison, I thought I would show what it looks like next to Fenty's Hot Chocolate Fantasy. We have the Leigh Eldridge closer to the wrist and the Fenty underneath. I consider my Fenty glosses to be pretty sparkly, so I definitely find the sparkle in the Leigh Eldridge glosses to be impressive. Last but not least, in this gloss trio, we have the shade Peekaboo Pink, and I would describe this as a magenta. Right away, the tone of this gloss reminded me of Fenty's Fuchsia Flex. This gloss is definitely for the vibrant pink lovers. I do want to say that for all of these, I appreciate that they have a good amount of depth. This is definitely a trio that's going to work for a wide range of skin tones. I'm always going to say that when I talk about these kinds of kits, because oftentimes there's going to be at least one shade that's too light for me. I didn't find that to be the case with any of the shades in here, and not surprised because Leigh Eldridge is a makeup artist. It's not a perfect rule, but in general, I find that brands that are made by makeup artists tend to be a little bit more inclusive. These glosses also have a sheerness to them, so if you are a little bit intimidated of colors this bold, you can totally sheer them out. And just for the sake of comparison, I went ahead and did a side-by-side swatch with Fenty's Fuchsia Flex. I swatched Leigh Eldridge closer to my wrist and Fenty underneath. As you can see, Fenty is a little bit more deep in its tone, but other than that, they definitely have similar vibes. I would say the Fenty is slightly more pigmented as well. And here is what all 3 shades look like swatched on my arm. I honestly think you probably don't need all 3 shades, especially if you're trying to pick up maybe just 1 or 2. If you prefer something a little bit more pink, go with Peekaboo Pink. If you want something in between, I would say go for Chameleon Chaos, which is the shade closest to the rest. If you want something that's a little bit more brown toned, I would say go for Kensington Plum. For me personally, I would say that Chameleon Chaos and Kensington Plum are similar enough that they may not be overly distinguishable when worn on the lips. Whatever you decide, I feel like you can't go wrong with this formula. It's really nice, it feels comfortable, it feels luxurious. One of the top luxury gloss formulas I've tried. Okay, now we are going to get right into swatching and trying on the liquid shadows. And I have said this in previous videos, and I'll say it again. Leigh Eldridge makes my favorite liquid shadows. These were actually one of the first formulas that I tried, and it sort of ruined several other formulas for me after that, just because they're so incredibly easy to use and they have such a high impact. This shade that I'm trying on right now is a champagne. It's called Rosalie. This formula is more like a metallic. There are a few kind of different finishes in this line. And I am going to apply it both with my finger and with a brush just so you can see how seamlessly both applications truly are. The beauty of a liquid shadow is that when you find a good formula, it stays put, it lasts all day, it doesn't have fallout, and it doesn't have patchiness. And for me, the Liquid Lurex from Leigh Eldridge ticks all of these boxes. You do get a higher impact from these liquid shadows than you do from some of the shimmers in the palettes, in my honest opinion. And that's okay, these are intended to be different. And as you can see, a little bit of product goes a long way. You just need one dip with the doe foot, and then you can blend it out with your finger or a brush. I've heard Leigh talk about these products before, and one of her intentions was to create a very easy one and done type of shadow. That is often how I use these, but you can also pair them with matte powder shadows or with each other and layer them. And I did want to go ahead and do some comparison swatches as well. So in the middle we have Cressida, and on the right we have Bianca. You can see that in comparison to Cressida, Rosalie has just a touch more pink, but they are in the same family. The finishes of the two are also very similar. If you have Cressida, you're definitely going to get the vibes of the shade Rosalie. And then I also just wanted you to see that Bianca has a much more sparkly finish. So even though the shades are in the same family, the look on the eyelids is going to be quite different. And to me, Bianca looks just a little bit more kind of pale pink. Okay, and the next shade we have is probably my favorite of all the 3 shades. This is called Aria. This is basically a silver sparkly topper. And because of that, it is a slightly different formula from the other shades. It has a little bit of sheerness to it. You can build it up for a higher opacity, but you could also sheer it out and make any of the other shades a little bit more sparkly, or layer it on top of a matte shade and you'll be able to see that matte shade through it if you wear it sheerly. I really do love transformative shades like these. And again, I'm just showing you 2 different applications, one where I blend it out with my fingertip and one where I blend it with my brush. I just really want you to see that you can use either technique and get a good result. For me, it's really nice to see that there's consistency in the formula. I have no issues in using these compared to the other shades that I've tried from Leigh Eldridge. I also feel like this shade is going to pair well with so many other shades in the line. She's got a lot of cool toned shades. And hopefully you can see in both applications that this shade has some sheerness to it that the first shade didn't. I also want to say I don't think that Leigh Eldridge has a formula that's quite like this in the Liquid Lurex line. If you're looking for the most unique shade, this is probably the one. Okay, last but not least, we have the shade Celine. This is the deepest of the 3 shades, and I would describe this as a pewter. It is a metallic like Rosalie, but it has just a touch more sparkle to it. This right here is probably going to be the shade that I'm going to get the most use out of on a daily basis. For me personally, this is a perfect everyday shade, going to the office type of easy eyeshadow look. It's fully opaque, just like Rosalie, super easy to blend with your finger. Just really excited about this shade. This is what it looks like fully applied. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a second application with a brush. As you can see, I just put a little bit of product into the center of my eyelid and take my brush and kind of spread it out. You do get a little bit of playtime with these, but I would definitely recommend doing one eye at a time because these are going to fully dry down. And while you do have some time, you don't have that much. I love how even though this is only one shade, it kind of looks like a smoky eye. For me, that's definitely the beauty of a one and done shadow, is it looks like you put in more effort than you did. Again, no issues with blending either with my finger or a brush. I think it depends on your own personal preference. And for the sake of comparison, I wanted to show what Celine looked like swatched next to Liza. Liza has been my favorite liquid lurex shadow for quite some time now. You can see that Celine isn't quite as deep and it has just a touch more warmth to it and a touch more grunge. Okay, and let's go ahead and play with these liquid shadows a little bit more. I'm going to take Aria and just amp up Celine a little bit by adding a little bit of sparkle to it. Celine is beautiful on its own, but we're just playing around here to see how these are going to layer. It adds some coolness to it and a little bit of sparkle. Then I'm taking Rosalie and I'm adding it as an inner corner shade and a brow bone shade. I actually think Aria is also a great shade to use as an inner corner and brow bone, but you can see how that adds just a little bit of light reflection, and I really like how this turned out. Just a really easy way to put a look together using all three shades. For my second look, I was really tempted to do a smoky halo, and I just wanted to take Aria and use it as the center lid shade. I applied a little bit with my fingertip, and now I'm just going ahead and blending it out with my brush. This shade Aria really pops, especially with dark shades around it. I really love how high impact this look is, and I think this silver is going to pair with so many other color combinations. Now I'm adding just a little bit as an inner corner highlight, and I'm tapping it in with my fingertip. Just as I suspected, it makes a beautiful inner corner shade. And here is the second completed look. Okay, now let's go ahead and close out with some wrap-up thoughts. I think, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this collection because I love sparkly makeup and I am very familiar with the liquid lurex formula and I love it. I also am brand new to trying sparkly glosses from Lisa Eldridge, so I was super excited about these because I love sparkly glosses, as you can tell from a lot of my other videos. That being said, let's go ahead and be critical. Of course, if you know you don't like liquid shadows, then I wouldn't recommend picking up these. However, if you do, then these are top notch. If you don't have any shades from Lisa Eldridge, then I think you'll really enjoy these. If you have some of the previous shades, I think the ones that are most unique are Aria and Celine. When it comes to these lip glosses, I think they're really pretty, but I think you probably don't need all three. Chameleon Chaos and Kensington Plum do give similar vibes. In terms of the formula itself, I think it's lovely, and if you like sparkly glosses, you are going to enjoy these. For me personally, my favorite shade is Kensington Plum because it kind of gives cherry cola vibes lips. I like the depth and the hint of brown. I would love to hear in the comments what your favorite shades are from this release, what you think about this release in general, and if you plan to pick anything up. I will have everything linked in the description box and comments. If you enjoyed this overview, make sure to check out some of my other videos. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.